97. Nope, there it goes. 97 seconds again.
Bays Boys Podcast.
And we're up.
We're back.
Can I get a hootie?
Don't pollute.
Don't pollute. So, Mr. Joe Skelly.
Yes, Tyler.
Let's talk about visiting the McCoys.
Oh, I want to back up first.
Oh, we're backing up?
We're back up. We're going to talk about...
Backing up.
We're going to talk about
visiting...
Point Pleasant, West Virginia.
We're back on this one.
Yes.
Where you tricked me to go to the Moth Man stuff. Very good.
We're going to talk about the world famous... Or semi-world famous. Historic low hotel.
All right, I'm going to bring it up so I can read you some of these comments while you talk about it. Tell us.
So in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, there's a historic hotel called the Lowe, Lowe. It's on the historic records. I don't know. It's listed as a historic site. It's an old hotel. It's supposed to be gorgeous on the inside. The hardest part about the hotel is gaining entrance.
Only for Joe Skelly, though.
Is gaining entrance to the hotel.
Joe Skelly's gotten entrance into a lot of places, but this is not one of them.
This is not one of them. We, on our trip to wonderful West Virginia, we were looking for places to stay, and we actually considered staying at the Lowe Hotel. And if you Google the Lowe, it's
LOWE, rated as a 1-star hotel. By the way, just so we're putting you in perspective here, I wanna put that in there.
But if you Google the reviews for the hotel,
well, we're gonna read some of those.
They're either 5-star or they're 1-star.
Right.
There's like no in between on this hotel. As again, I saw some of the pictures online, right? Googling the inside of it, and the pictures are gorgeous, right? 2-story lobby,
right? Gorgeous
interior, and
I myself did not get to see it because I did not join you on your 10-second trip. So I'm walking around. It's fucking hotter than balls.
In Point Pleasant.
And I've got a fever, which I didn't know about. So I'm standing outside. I'm like, I'm going to get some air while they go in there and visit this old lady's hotel. Right. You guys disappeared for 3 seconds and then reappeared. And I'm like, man, that's the quickest break I've ever got. What happened? Tell them what happened, Joe Skelly.
The front door of the hotel's locked.
She said, fuck you guys.
And I jiggled the door a couple times because I wanted to get entrance.
Right.
And the hotel owner was sitting in the lobby in a chair, staring at the door. Just straight
did not give a fuck about you.
Straight up refused to open the door.
Okay, so here's one. I want to put this one out here for specifically Joe Skelly because of what happened to him. Beautiful build. This is a review on Google, by the way. It's a 1 out of 5. Beautiful building and lobby. It's a shame. It's a shame. That's all I was able to see before being shooed away by the woman behind the desk. I came in to inquire about lodging for myself and my friends. We needed 3 or 4 rooms for the next 3 days as we were in the area doing a photo shoot. Gee, I wonder why. I sat down to wait for the current guest to finish checking in when the lady came over and informed my group that they are not currently touring the hotel and told us to have a nice evening. Well, we shall be happy to take our business elsewhere. Was great to see the beautiful lobby. Too bad the front desk person has no personal skills. Hopefully this woman was not the owner, because if so, I feel bad for this beautiful historical location. Now we've got it on good accord, or whatever that saying is.
Yes.
That is the owner, correct? Am I right?
That is the owner.
We can't divulge our sources, but we were told that it's very, very hit or miss. Okay, so I'm skipping over the 5 ones. Most of the 5s are like, stayed here a few months ago with my daughter while on a trip from Atlanta, Georgia to Pittsburgh, PA, to take her back to school. We are both fans of Moth Man, so we decided this would be a fun stop to cut the drive in half. Even though the Moth Man was the original reason for being in the small, isolated river town in the middle of nowhere, the most remarkable part of the trip turned out to be the Lowe Hotel. This hotel is amazingly beautiful, and the owners made my daughter and I feel like family. I've never had a hotel experience like this and probably never will again. We were given, we were he's misspelled. We were given an in-depth personal tour of the historic building, which incorporates a giant art gallery. The whole experience was unforgettable. My daughter and I will treasure it for the rest of our lives. But then you go down, and here's another one that's a 1-star. So we've gone from 5-star, as Joe Skelly said, to a 1-star. The 1-star is obviously because Google doesn't do 0, but I'll say it's because of the history and architecture of the hotel itself. The second floor and the structural columns were beautiful. Needless to say, with the historical location the building needs to be kept up with, the air conditioner looked like it was taped to the wall, and the bathroom, when was the last time it was cleaned? The worst part, I can't definitely say it's tied between waiting in an empty desk for 15 minutes to check in and out, while this old guy told us she'll be back and creepily stared at us, or that we waited all that time just for their card reader to supposedly break and she made us go to an ATM down the street to pay cash. Or was it that there were other people in our room when we got up there? What the fuck? We found out the skeleton keys they give you can open any room. Does that sound safe to you? These were some of the ones you read already, too. And then it goes back into a bunch of 5-stars. So my fiance and I stayed there while seeing our Mothman stuff. It was amazing. The owner's very sweet. The building is very beautiful. 5 out of 5. Followed by 1 out of 5. The lady behind the desk is insane. It's way overpriced. The building is dirty and run down with air conditioners duct taped in the windows. So that is true. Yeah, Joe Skelly did see that from the outside. Stained curtains, stained sinks. Obviously, there's no spirits in that building because the lady at the desk would have definitely run them off. Then there's some more 5-stars, and it goes right back to... It's like every 5, there's just a 1-star.
Right.
I've not stayed in the hotel, but I wanted to warn people of the absolutely unprofessional customer service I received inquiring about a future stay on this property.
Yeah.
So you were not the only person to not be allowed in there, Joe Skelly.
I also read in some of those reviews that they lock the hotel door at 11 p.m. and don't open it again till 8 a.m. So if you're not in the hotel by 11 p.m., you're locked out.
Wow.
And if you're inside the hotel, you're not allowed to leave.
That would be the longest fucking time.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And... apparently, you're not allowed to wander the halls after 10.
No one leaves that room.
Yeah, dude.
It's got hostile shit written all over it. That is so creepy. Dude. I'm kind of sad I didn't see the lady, but that whole trip's all fucked up now, so does Joe Skelly be tricking us into holes and shit? Note to self, do not let Joe Skelly direct the tour. Because he doesn't tell you where you're going. Oh, this 1.5 is a whole fucking page.
Yeah.
And this is only the guy who tried to get in. This is crazy. I'm not going to read this because it's literally like fucking, look at this.
Why?
Dude. And that's the guy who didn't get to stay there. That dude is fucking pissed. I read the first line of the 5 paragraphs and it was like, I'm from Canada. So right off the rip.
My man was...
Yeah, that fucked his whole life up. He's like, how horrible can you be? The USA is a piece of shit.
Because of this.
Their hotels don't even let you stay there. He was racially profiled.
Listen.
In West Virginia.
And I promise you that not every room in that hotel is booked. I fucking promise you.
Right.
Listen.
She's got like 12 rooms and uses 3 of them.
She's got more than that because it's 3 stories high.
Oh.
Right? It's 3 stories, at least 3 stories on the outside of the building.
Really?
Right? That I could see from the one street, right?
Wow.
And when I walked down the street, I didn't even realize that was a hotel because I saw all the air conditioners sticking out of the windows. And I literally thought it was a YMCA.
Oh my God.
I was like, is this the homeless? Is this the homeless shelter?
This is where we go for free bunk nights. But apparently she didn't even want to let you in, Joe Skelly.
Dude, I couldn't even get in the front door. And she sat in this lounge chair and just stared at me menacingly as I was trying to open the door.
As we were told earlier, that's that fuck you money.
It is that fuck you money.
Right. She just doesn't care.
She don't care.
She doesn't need your business.
And she really don't care.
She doesn't want your business.
Nope.
So, what the hotel look like on the inside that you did get to see, though?
It looked gorgeous from what I could see, but the sun was low. It was kind of high, and it was reflecting off the glass.
Right,
it was hard to see through the windows.
Yeah.
But I could see her.
I didn't even know that was a hotel until you guys were actually walking up to it.
I could see her sitting in that chair staring at me. So if you want to adventure, I challenge you to get into the Low Hotel.
Yeah, West Virginia.
I challenge you to get into the Low Hotel. And if you do get through the doors, you tell them Bay's Boys sent you.
Right. I say we go back down there, we get in that place, and we just sticker the shit out of it. She comes in, there's a whole wall. It's just Bay's Boys podcast stickers.
She would probably hire some hitmen.
We'd get sued.
Or she'd hire hitmen.
We'd be on the news.
Yeah, we would absolutely be on the news.
We might not even make it out of that town.
Might not make it out of the state.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
Not a good idea.
That's all I'm saying. So, we can fast forward now.
Okay.
You started off and I rudely interrupted.
So, I've been kicked out of shows. I've been kicked out of bars. I've never been stopped at a hotel and kicked out without even being let in. That's impressive.
Yeah. I set a new standard.
Yeah. I mean, I really expected. I was standing outside like, man, it's so hot, but I'm going to be okay. I'm just going to chill out here, for like the 15 20 minutes they're going to be in there. You came walking back out. I was like, damn, that was the fastest visit of a hotel. What happened? And I was confused. And then you got locked out.
Yeah.
She had a Ring camera on there too, you said, right? So she could hear you guys talking too.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
She knew.
Yeah.
She was like, fuck these drifters. Get out of my house. If you didn't sign up on Google. Well, so I wonder if they're that behind in the times with everything. How do you reserve a room? Do you have to call?
You probably have to call.
Fuck.
And then you probably have to give them a check-in. Like, I'm going to be there at this moment.
Fuck.
And if you're not, let's say you're 20 minutes late, you ain't getting in.
Now, if I don't eat my dinner, do you think she'd feed it to me?
No, oh, God.
Because that's where it feels like this is going.
Right.
She's going to give me clothes to wear to dinner.
Right.
Yeah. That's where that whole thing just sounds like that.
Yeah, it's
the entire time you guys were talking about it on our way down.
And listen,
I was like,
that hotel's supposed to be haunted too.
Okay,
right?
And then that was the other part too. So you said that she does not allow ghost hunters.
That is correct. As I read in one of the reviews, they tout that the hotel is haunted.
Okay.
It's one of the most haunted hotels in West Virginia.
Okay.
But if you go in there and you ask them about the ghosts, she flips out and says, "No ghost hunters allowed."
Wow.
Apparently. That's the thing.
Maybe she is the Mothman.
Well, it made me wonder after watching the Mothman prophecies, they had the main character stay in a motel, right?
Right.
Not the Low Hotel.
Right.
So the question was, I wonder if they proposed to her, "Hey, we'd like to shoot part of the film in your hotel." And she was just like,
"Fuck you."
She was pretty much like, "Go fuck yourself."
Jesus. I just don't know.
Yeah. That's the name. Tyler, I don't know.
I do not know.
Right.
I can't vouch. I did not see. I'm glad. Like, my fat ass was about to fall over anyways, so just being cramped in that little tiny whatever it is.
Right.
And her seeing me there, like looking like I was gonna die, I'm good on that.
Especially with all the ink.
It's just, it's just one of those things where like, it's like that you're not doing anything wrong, but it's that feeling of getting caught because the door stopped you. You're like, oh, this is supposed to be open at fucking 2 p.m. Why is it locked? And then we're the ones standing there,
right?
And she's like, ha ha ha, city
gatekeeping,
right?
Gatekeeping.
That's creepy.
That is creepy.
I'm glad I don't have that weird experience. And
maybe
now
maybe that's a hotel where people disappear from the rooms in the middle of the night.
Fuck, dude. Why? You're making it worse.
Look. They
you
don't
go
have
stay there. I'm going to go stay with the Browns fan. You're going to stay there.
Listen.
The next day you'll report back
to
me.
They don't have any computer system, right? So they handwrite cards when you check in.
The fuck?
This
like a library thing?
No, this is my hypothesis, right? they handwrite your check-in card, right?
Oh my god!
So when you disappear out of the room in the middle of the night,
chuck the card.
Just chuck the card, and they'll be like, they were never here.
That never happened. We'd like to see your logbook. It's just these
index
recipe
cards.
Yeah,
these index
from
cards.
1985. They've got a Rolodex.
They got a card catalog,
right? Like like the library thing. Pull it out. Put it in. These are the people that survived. It says here that all these people that stayed here were friendly. Is there why are they all friendly? Well, because we got rid of the other ones.
That's right.
Remember that movie from the 90s with Chevy Chase where he gets pulled over for a ticket?
Yeah, and he ends up in that town and he has to go see the judge.
Yeah, John Candy. Yep. Yeah. You know exactly what I'm talking about. That is the kind of shit that I think of. That's what I was thinking about when you said we were going to an Airbnb. I was like, fuck. We're going to get caught up in this.
So, all right. So we leave Point Pleasant.
Yep.
And we head damn near due west.
Yep.
To where?
I don't know. Fuck, I was in the back seat. Why would I know that?
We headed due west. I was
not part of the navigation team nor the driving team. I was in the back.
We were headed due west to we were deep west.
Oh, right.
West Virginia.
Right.
Near in the hills.
Kentucky border.
Yep, in the hills.
Yep.
And we were looking to follow the Hatfield and McCoy.
Oh, right. I thought we were still talking about this broad. That was creeping me out. No. Okay, yeah.
We were looking to find the Hatfield and McCoy feud trail, if you will.
Right. Which, first of all, you're not finding that from the road.
As we found out later.
We should have known that. That should have been a given. I wasn't 100% sure what we were walking into, but...
Yeah. So, traveling deep west into West Virginia on some highways and then onto some byways and then on some 2-lane roads up and down these 180-degree switchbacks.
2-lane roads. Some of those roads were shut down. They were just 1-lane roads.
That's true.
Yeah. There was a few that were just shut off. And they were like, this is 1 lane. We got a stoplight on each end. You're not allowed to. Yeah. Yeah, that was interesting.
Deep coal country, if you will.
Right. Literally saw some coal guy walking around on the street.
Yeah, just got off
coming out of work, which was weird because why was there only one?
Well, we only saw one.
Right.
We only saw one. Hey, and shout out to all those hardworking people.
Yep.
Because that is a job that is the utmost difficult and some treacherous.
That is an old school hard-working job.
That is old school blue collar.
We put that right up there with the whole climbing the beams and building fucking skyscrapers with no harnesses, old school shit right there.
Yeah, I agree, 100%.
And today, I would venture to say that job's more dangerous than the climbing because now they got safety belts and safety rigs, and most of the time you're harnessed in.
Right.
These dudes are just in the ground.
They're 900 feet down, 1,100 feet down, however far down it is.
You think your ears pop when you go down there?
Yeah, I would hazard to guess.
Ugh.
I would hazard to guess.
My ears were fucked up just driving around there.
Through the mountains, right?
Right. What were the elevations? 1,900 feet?
Some of them were upwards of 28, something like that. Maybe a little. Yeah, we were in some super high, super low, wild
little high,
switchbacks.
Little low.
You know. And look,
I'll tell you what's low is my morale for you trekking me into the Moth Man Center. What the fuck, bro? Once again, this is why you need friends like Joe Skelly. They'll just walk you into shit.
Take you to the edge. Take you to the edge, my man.
A.
Take you to the edge.
What a mistake I made. I strictly thought that was for Cole.
I cannot wait for the next adventure.
No.
It's already planned.
No.
You're going to love it.
I'm going to poo myself.
No, you're not. You're already going to love it.
Oh, Jesus.
So, driving west, coal country, 2-lane roads, out in the middle of nowhere. And how tight were those turns on those mountains?
Oh, as tight as can be. Right. Tighter than a bum on a drum.
Look, and they had numbers on those turns.
Right.
So in case you drive your car off the side
here, you can describe, I am at turn number 7 off the side of the hill.
Right.
Well, we'll be there eventually.
And by the way, you ain't surviving if you go off one of them turns.
Some of those. Not really, no. I can't imagine.
Dude, how about when we stopped on the one mountain and we were looking down? Dude, yeah.
I got dizzy. You got that reverse, whatever the fuck it's called. I don't know. Vertigo. It's not even my choice. My brain's just like, no. Floppy cocks. Floppy cocks.
So we stayed in an Airbnb.
Right.
Which was a trailer.
That was nice.
But on the inside of the trailer,
Oh, it was beautiful.
it was beautiful on the inside.
You wouldn't
of
have
the trailer.
guessed you were inside a trailer if you didn't know what a trailer looked like.
No idea. But
Right.
from the outside, you were like, "Oh fuck, this is a trailer."
Right. I was wondering.
what Joe Skelly was thinking when he booked it.
I don't even know.
But it was all modern, all brand new. Looked like a brand new house on the
beautiful.
inside. It was absolutely beautiful.
The homeboy put the air on before we got there. He must have had that bitch running for a minute because we stepped into that. It was like a cooler. I was like, oh,
yeah, it was.
This
nice.
is wonderful.
This is wonderful because
speaking of which, I gotta get on there and do that review. Put a nice review for him.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Because it was like 900 degrees outside where we stayed.
Right.
And we got outside. That's where we met the Browns fan.
Yep.
That's where we met the hardcore Browns fan in deep West Virginia, which I never would have thought in my entire life we'd have come across.
Right. There's irony there.
There is irony there.
Just because of, Cleveland being everywhere, we can't escape it.
Right. My man was like, y'all from Cleveland?
Cleveland is where the heart is, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, Cleveland's the plum or whatever. Anyway.
Right. The fuck?
Dude, that's the dumbest thing.
So if you've never heard of the Hatfield and McCoy thing, let's talk about that because some people might not know.
Okay.
It is a family feud
between the Hatfields and the
McCoy
family.
And the McCoys that went on between, our research says, 1863 to about 1891. Now listen, those are the official first generation guys, is what I'm thinking.
That's it.
Right. Because Joe Skelly has informed us that they didn't pop up a treaty they didn't offer a treaty until 1930, you said?
29,
30, yeah.
Yeah.
So up to 91, then you let it simmer for 40 years. Then you came out and offered a treaty in 1930, and they signed a formal one when?
2003.
Right.
80 members of the families got together.
Right.
And signed a formal
symbolic
treaty.
And we're using the air quote fingers.
In 2003.
So this is a blood feud that started over a couple of pigs.
It started over one. Yeah.
Even though these people knew each other before that.
Yes.
Because they served together in the military, two of them.
Yes.
And then it became a blood feud. And it was a feud between two families on the, western and eastern sides of the mountain?
Yep.
How'd it go?
Western West Virginia and eastern Kentucky.
Right.
They were their families were separated by a river, which was literally the border between the two.
Right. And they're just killing each other.
Oh, yeah.
Now, as far as we know on the books, we're reading that it could be over a dozen killed for each family over these so many years. Now, mind you, we're not talking about the ones we didn't get to record. We're talking about the big official numbers that came out screaming, kicking, and fighting out of the first generation of this. So they're figuring a dozen on each side with 9 Hetfields that would be in prison, 7 for life, and 1 would even be executed.
Yep.
Because of this whole feud.
And that was the last one. The last official Hatfield killed was the one that was hung.
Official, by the way.
Yes.
So we'll get into that in a little bit. Imagine being, and again, all of us coming from poorer generations, wouldn't say this poor, but imagine being a poor family on the side of a mountain that gets famous because you're duking it so much with another family that people hear about this.
Right. It made national news.
Right. That is in itself, would you call that it's a feat, but it's a miracle, not a miracle, but that's just crazy.
That is crazy.
To be and this is before the internet.
This is before 24-hour news service.
24-hour, right. This is before Instagram, Telegram, WhatsApp, all these things. And your whole family becomes famous because they're beating on another family and that other family's beating on you.
Yes.
I mean, they got Kevin Costner, our water boy.
Right.
The real original water boy. Shout out to Kevin Costner's Waterworld. And the homie Bill Paxton, R.I.P. my guy, to play these characters about a family that was just fighting.
Yes. And I just recently rewatched that.
Yeah.
And it was rough, but I think they tamed down.
Oh, without a doubt.
They tamed down what actually took place and the violence that took place.
Before we go further and talk about our experiences, do you think that this blood feud could have died over time?
No.
Why?
Based on some of the conversations that we had.
Before that, though.
Oh, even before that?
Before that.
I thought it was over. I thought it was probably long
okay, so
done
you
with.
thought it was done
I
with.
thought it was history. I thought it was history.
I am going to say that I also thought it was history. But,
for sure.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, yeah, blah,
I
blah,
mean,
blah.
because look, dude, when we Google it, they're like, oh, there's museums and like all this other stuff. So I'm like,
there's
sweet.
all these things, T-shirts and TV shows and this, that, or the other.
I'm like, oh, wow, we're going to go to an official museum and we're going to learn about this crazy history.
So going into it, I also was like, oh, this is just history. I didn't realize either that they are literally just famous for beating the shit out of each other. This isn't just like, oh, he went off and did this polite. And he went off and did this. It's like
being polite.
Right.
You're being polite about when you say beating the shit out of each other.
They're famous for a fucking gang war. That's what that is. Let's call that what it is.
Call it what it is.
That is wild.
Yes.
And as we continue, so we get over there to the
Airbnb.
Yeah.
We're staying in the Airbnb because we're looking for the cemetery.
Right.
Should I mention where it is?
Yeah, I mean everyone can find it.
Yeah,
so
it's in Sarah Ann, West Virginia.
Okay, so we get there, we climb up the side of this mountain, and I mean for us, I would say it's the side of a mountain. For them, they'd be laughing at us. So let's just put that out there.
100%, they'd be laughing at us.
And as I'm standing there,
I mean, you kind of skip like to get to this place, to get to this cemetery.
Oh, I mean, you're in the middle of nowhere,
and there's one little marker on the side of the road.
Right.
And if you missed it, you missed it.
Right.
You ain't going to find it.
And this is in the middle of a fucking neighborhood.
Well, it wasn't even really a neighborhood, so to speak.
I mean, it's their version of a neighborhood.
Right. Yeah.
Not our version of a neighborhood. Right. It's their version of...
Right. It was a 2-lane road along a creek.
Right.
And there were houses.
Houses.
Houses. Yeah, houses. Along this creek.
Right. So you're in the backyard, so to speak, of these people who own this entire area.
Yeah.
This isn't just Walmart land. This isn't industrialized. You know,
this is literally
down the ways. This is still a small town.
It's not even a town. It's not even a village.
It's not considered that?
Well, it was part of a county.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And it because you got to remember, they're like, oh, Mate 1 is over there, right? That was like the big town, and we drove through it in like 3 minutes.
Oh, yeah. It all looks the same to me when you get me in those places, so I have a hard time. Okay, so we climb up this hill that for us...
Through the woods.
Right.
On this dirt path that was like 70 degree.
Right.
Straight up.
Just rocks and shit, debris and dirt, right? So we climb all this up. We get up there, and here's this graveyard on the side of a hill.
Of a mountain.
Mountain.
Yeah, it's partway up a mountain.
I shouldn't even be calling it a hill. It's a mountain. My ass only saw the hillside, though. So, yeah, that was a mountain. That was interesting. I've never seen a graveyard sideways.
Right, and they literally
had to
prop up the stones and stuff on one side because it was so steep.
Right. And as we're hanging out there, Joe Skelly's doing what Joe Skelly does and is trying to conquer the entire mountain. While I was looking for the Coke machine. I don't drink Coke, but I could have used one right there. Listen, I just want to say that this all makes more sense, because when I'm asking for a Coke to stay awake, that fever thing makes more sense, because I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I thought it was just a shape thing, like I'm the wrong shape. The whole time I'm like, don't even, I didn't say a fucking thing, because I'm like, don't say a thing.
Nope.
This is on you for not getting outside and doing your cardio. Rule number 1. Then I come home and get 101 degree fever or whatever, and I'm like, oh fuck. But so I get up this mountain. We're hanging out with the Mega Beast, hanging out with Joe Skelly and his better half. And as Joe Skelly's trolling the mountain and me and the ladies are standing there, an old timer walks up wearing a crispy pressed button down polo,
three button knit
polo with his fucking, what are those called?
Retirement
loafers and shorts.
Yep.
And he looks right at us and he goes, "Whew, that's quite a climb." Now you can't pull a lot from that, but the second line after I said, "Yes, sir, it is," he goes, "Are you all from around here?" And I was like, "My guy, listen to me. There are 3 things that have just happened. You've established dominance by showing me you're not even sweating because you climbed this motherfucker.
It's some loafers.
You're in loafers. Right. You've given away your accent.
Oh, yes. Yes, you did.
And you definitely have made it apparently obvious that with your accent, you know that without our accent, we are not from around here.
Yeah. He was fishing.
Oh, old boy knew.
He knew.
Right off the rip. Now, he was super interesting because what did he say? He said his family was on the, which side?
Hatfield
side. He was. He didn't say family.
Yeah, he's a Hatfield.
He said he was a Hatfield side motherfucker. He didn't use that word, but he may as well have. By the way, his lines were just clean.
Yes.
I mean, my guy looked good.
Yes, he did.
He had a clean-ass haircut. You would not have guessed he was right from that area.
Not at all.
Right.
Not at all.
Chameleon.
Super chameleon.
Right. So, there he is. He gets to talking about how he's grown up in the area.
Mm-hmm.
And then
went to school in 1955.
Right. And then what did he say?
He said,
who did he say was it his relative that hung out with him or he hung out with him?
No, that was the guy who owned.
That was the other one.
Yeah. We'll get back to that.
So he says he's been hanging out with those guys since he was a kid.
Since he was born.
And that was in his blood that you picked a side and you stuck with it.
Oh, well, he was related to the Hatfield family.
Right.
He said his parents owned a furniture store in the little town.
Right.
It was probably 20 miles from
air
there.
Quotes town.
Yeah.
Right.
And that the Hatfields would come down out of the mountains once a month to buy supplies.
Right.
And he had a picture of himself at the age of 2 sitting on one of the Hatfields' laps.
Yes. So he's close enough friends to him to get that picture done.
Oh, yes.
Like his family was.
Yes.
Now, the thing about old boy was he was a classy motherfucker.
Oh.
So he wasn't really saying what he was saying directly.
It was like you had to read between the lines.
Yeah. He made it very apparent, though, when he said, when I was in school.
If you had the name McCoy.
Right. You were
1955.
You were getting thumped on if you were in the wrong spot and vice versa.
Right.
Then,
he did mention that some of the Hatfield and McCoys had intermarried.
Right. But he also kind of brushed that off as that's like current day status shenanigans.
Like y'all are trash for doing that.
Right. Then what did he say? He said,
"Oh, they all became."
Well, when we spoke to him and told him where we stayed, that was the craziest part because he laughed his ass off and then just moved on.
It was weird.
Right.
He was like, ha, 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 like a crazy person.
Right.
And then just moved on with his conversation.
Yeah. He didn't want to bring up where we stayed or who we met or anything.
Right.
And was like, okay, I'm not going to say anything else, and just stopped.
Yes.
I like the part where we asked and said, have you ever made it up one of these mountains? And he said, yeah, I have as a kid.
As a matter of fact, it was the mountain right across from the cemetery.
Right. As a kid. I'm like, as a kid? Bro, no kids that I know are making it up this mountain today. My fat ass sure isn't making it up that mountain, running up that thing. What did he say? It'd take him like a day or whatever to do it or something, or a few hours? Or
a couple hours to get up the top of that mountain. It probably didn't even take him that long, let's be honest.
That's why old boy ain't broken a sweat.
In his retirement loafers. And his crisp 3-button knit polo.
I mean, he looked like he just ironed that shirt.
Dude, it was 900 degrees out. He wasn't sweating.
No.
He didn't have a crease in it.
No.
Some
people in the world are just like that.
And I asked him, I said, why did they call the Klan leader Ance Hatfield? Why'd they call him the devil? And what was his answer?
What did he say? He just killed so many people. They didn't know what else to say. Dude, they thought he was the devil.
He said on account of how many people he killed, he just shot them all down.
So you're telling me you think that you only shot 12 people down and you call that the devil? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
No.
I think it's probably a lot more than that.
Right. I think historically we're missing some pieces.
Oh, fuck yeah, we are.
Pieces with the word people in parentheses.
Yeah.
But oh boy, so, all right.
And look, we're kind of dancing around some of this conversation.
Yeah.
Because some of it was pretty intense. And we're not trying to disparage nobody or...
Right. You should definitely go there.
Yeah.
Just don't ask questions about the other side of the mountain. Apparently is what you don't do.
Yeah, if you're gonna go find this Hatfield Cemetery, do not say shit about the McCoys to anyone.
Or vice versa. If you go to the McCoys, don't say anything about the Hatfields.
Because
I would just leave it alone.
Just leave that shit alone. Right. Leave that shit alone. Because it was kind of made very apparent to us that this feud, it ain't over.
Yeah, I don't believe that it's over. Especially after talking and understanding a little bit more about it. And then thinking about the fact, the government's been trying to squash feuds everywhere for years and years and years. And you think that we squashed this back alley one that nobody's monitoring.
That didn't happen.
Yeah, I'm good on that.
That did not happen. Because there are there's still some strong feelings. Like when people, when you're down there and people tell you, well, the McCoy stuff happened on the other side of the mountain, and I don't give a fuck about anybody on that side of the mountain.
I can't tell you how to get over there because I don't go there. Bro, how do you not go on the other side of the state just because?
Dude, it was like 3 miles away.
Oh, that close.
That's how close we were.
Yeah, he said, I don't give a fuck about that side. Okay. You don't argue with somebody if they tell you that.
No, sir. And when they tell you, don't you ask about nobody down here about the McCoy family? You say, yes, sir. You say, yes, sir.
Now, we do have to speak on one part that made this the most interesting. We're going to try to change it, though. How do you say it? So, apparently, when he was telling his stories, there had been a timeline, and he mentioned 5 or 6. And I thought he was going to say years or even decades.
Right.
And he said 5 or 6 months ago, person A had eliminated person B, and that they had chalked it up as a personal issue and an accident. I was like, wait a minute. What'd you just say? He said, that's how we handle things up here.
Around these parts,
he said,
it's a personal issue.
Right. But if you rob a bank, you go into prison. But if you got to throw one down the mine shaft, well, we don't get involved in that.
Pert much.
Yeah.
Pert much. Yeah.
I'm Tyler, I don't know. And I honestly don't believe anybody usually when they tell me stories. But this old man, I was like, oh, you can just tell sometimes. Because even he didn't want to say it.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
He said, what? Even 10 years ago, if you would have went up there as a normal person, they would have kicked you off that fucking mountain.
Yes, he did. He said 10 years ago, you wouldn't have been able to find this. And if you came up here 10 years ago, somebody come off this mountain and said, what the fuck are you doing here?
Right. So thank God that didn't happen.
Yeah, and he goes, well, you got this cemetery and you got this cemetery and then you get the regular cemetery.
Right. Down that way.
Right. For regular folk.
Right.
And then the crazy thing is you learn is that with the feud, most of the stuff that happened during the feuds happened up in the mountains.
Yeah, man, there's not a lot of discovery of evidence, so to speak, when it comes to that.
Right.
So,
and long story short, they said you can't walk to it. You can't drive a car up to it.
No.
The only way you're going to be able to see any of that stuff is getting on an ATV and getting up on the trails way up in the mountains.
Right. And the locals have come up with their own racket. Shout out to them because it's a great idea.
Yep.
You can go down there. You can rent ATVs or
Polaris side-by-sides.
Okay, yep, side-by-sides. And they give you a little sticker that says you're a visitor, so nobody bust one in your ass. Is what that's for. Right.
That's legit as fuck.
Somebody in the group was like, those stickers seem silly. I was like, listen. I'm
that's
trying
your
to
get out of
flag
jail card.
Everybody, hey, I'm new.
Right.
I just came up here to visit.
That's your get out of jail card.
Yes, that is I'm in a neutral zone person. I would like to pass.
You're like, I'm part of the United Nations.
Yes. I'm trying to go home.
I'm an observer.
Right. Press badge. I need a press badge.
Yeah.
Right.
So you can rent those ATVs and Polaris side-by-sides with a trail guide.
You can go up there all day.
500 miles worth of trails or something like that.
What in the fuck?
Yeah, and they said you can see most of where that shit happened with the Hatfield and McCoys.
Jesus.
Riding these trails, you just need to get a trail guide.
You think I packed a bag for that trip? You ought to see what I'd pack for that fucking trip.
I'm telling you, right?
We're going to need some rifles and some
all kinds of shit,
compasses
right?
and
But the crazy thing is, the one guy we made good with, he was like, you guys come back down here, and what I'll do is I'll make all the arrangements for you.
Yeah, that scares me. That scares me.
That's legit what he said. I'll make all the arrangements for you.
I saw Wrong Turn, all right, my guy. I don't need...
I think I'm going to go back.
Bro, I'm going to have
I think I'm going to do it.
We better get a Garmin. We better have a Garmin.
I got one.
I want some of them Survival 22s. I'm going to need me some fucking AR pistols. Some bags.
Dude,
night vision.
What that one lady tell us? When we asked about, they had the thing called the Paw Paw incident.
Whoa, what'd she say?
Where that guy got killed up in the Paw Paw patch. And they said,
oh
yeah, they stabbed him 47 times.
Oh, that one.
They stabbed him 47 times. And
right.
she goes, the family kept that shirt and hung it up so they'd never forget what happened.
Oh, my. You're not getting rid of that blood feud.
Right.
Hetfields and McCoys, though, people. Check it out. It was a trip well spent. Thank you, Joe Skelly.
It's my pleasure.
For figuring all that out, by the way.
Finding a piece of history that you don't get to see too often. Or get the inside scoop on.
And the back of a Honda, what is it? A Honda Accord?
Yep.
It is pretty roomy.
I told you.
Yeah.
That
was pretty good. It's pretty good. I think it's like the same as my car. Or bigger, actually. I'm not even sure. I don't remember the last time I rode in the back of my car was. Which was like yesterday, but
right.
It doesn't count because I had people up in there.
Yeah.
But check out that history. Check out that show if you want to see some of it. It is literally a blood feud.
Yep. And by the way, I'm promising you that show was way tamed down. But everybody on all accounts agreed it was pretty accurate as to what took place.
Right.
All the locals agreed that it was pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah. They probably left out a lot of the death.
Right.
But
I think those numbers were a little low. You're going to have to get your numbers up, Netflix or whoever the fuck hosted that show, made that show.
I think it's on Amazon right now.
There's no way that it was 12 over 30 years.
On each side?
There's no way.
No.
Because you got to think about friends, affiliates, cousins.
Dude, cousins and affiliates.
Cousins. That kid, that old man was an affiliate.
Yes, he was.
And he, even though he might not have shared the same name, he shared the belief.
Well, I thought he said his family married, or was that the other two? That was the other two.
I don't know. His family might have been, but he knew his side, is all I'm saying.
Yes,
he knew which side he wanted to be on. He knew which name he chose to flag with.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what he was sticking with.
Well, so did the other two.
Yeah.
But the other two said,
well, the other two directly
were cousins.
Make sense.
They were cousins.
Right.
And they were married into
sense.
the family. They were married into the family.
We did not hit the museum because the museum turned out to be somebody's house.
You could Google Earth Hatfield and McCoy Museum.
Yeah, if you really want to see what that's like, go ahead and check that out.
Yeah. We didn't go in. We felt a little
I was just not armed well enough. I don't think to be going into anybody's house.
Personal abode.
Right. And it's not anything on them.
Nope.
It's just I feel here's the other thing too, Joe Skellin put this out there too. I didn't take any pictures of the graves because I don't really believe in that.
Yep.
And we went there to see that and stuff, but going into somebody's house over that it seemed like I'd be an intruder. And I didn't feel like being that guy.
Yeah,
and we agreed on that.
Yep.
So we kind of dips that out of there and didn't fuck with that.
No. And then we drove over to the Kentucky side to see the McCoy stuff.
Yeah, and the McCoy stuff was way more industrialized on that side. I didn't understand that.
Because that used to be a small town, and it's just blown up because of its geographic location.
Well, it has nothing to do with the stories. It just has to do with the location.
That geographic location just blew up because it had the roads and everything else. Right.
I was a little bit confused on that side of it, just because it looked quite a bit more developed.
Oh, for sure.
So to speak.
For sure.
Okay, and here's the thing. I wasn't crazy. All right.
As soon as we crossed the border, we passed a sign on this 2-lane road that said, McCoy Stolen Pig Lane.
Right.
And it was this dirt road. Right.
We didn't fuck with that either.
Right.
There were quite a few roads labeled there, but some of them didn't look like the car would make it, so to speak.
Right. And so my thought process was these people ain't trying to forget.
Right. And I'd just stay away from that. Don't fuck with people.
Don't.
Especially people that live in a place where A can process B as a personal matter. What the fuck just happened?
Yeah.
We'll stay away from that.
Just stay away from all that.
3097 seconds. Bays Boys Podcast. Enjoy.